recognition. We have one. So Jacob Reed is the son of Steve and Trish Reed. Jacob has been the team statistician for this season. He has traveled to nearly all the games with the team, and he says he has truly had a fantastic time with these wonderful people. The Smoky Valley Volleyball team would really like to thank Jacob for his service this season. So thank you, Jacob. Big round of applause. We would also like to recognize in the crowd tonight if we've got Lindsborg rec volleyball players, our future Vikings. Thanks for coming tonight. We look forward to watching you on this court in the future.
Binks, and we're live at Smoky Valley Gym, where tonight the Smoky Valley Vikings, Chapman Irish, and Nickerson Panthers are in a, I guess you call it a try?
Yep, triangular.
Triangular, so Chapman is the one that has come out on top tonight. They beat Smoky Valley 25-22, 24-26, and 25-16. So they beat the Vikings 2-1. And then they came through, and Nickerson won the first match, but Chapman came back and won 25-19 and 25-20, so they would be the victor tonight. And the rubber match now will happen between Smoky Valley and Nickerson, and it should be a good one.
Yeah, big night for Chapman. They moved to 25-10 on the year, and they upset the number 8 team in 4A in Nickerson. And so Smoky Valley came out in their first one, lost a tight one to Chapman in 3 sets after coming off a great weekend, and then, didn't really play the type of volleyball I think they're capable of playing, so hopefully a crowd will build up. We got a nice little student section building over in the corner, and we got live.smokyvalley.org here tonight, and we got us here tonight, so hopefully we're not completely bad luck for these ladies, and we can give them a win here in the second one.
I had a chance to talk to Coach Ramsey between the games. I want to play that. Hadn't used this tape recorder for a long time, so I don't know if I'll be able to play the whole thing, but we'll hear from Coach Ramsey here now. It's not going to pick it up, so I apologize for that. I thought we had to. Let me try one more thing here before we give up on that. And welcome to some Viking pregame. The Vikings here in game 2 of their match with Nickerson coming up, but visiting with Coach Ramsey, not satisfied with dropping the first set 2-1.
Yeah, so I thought when we came out the very first set of the Chapman game, the way we played, I think the score was at 25-10. I thought that was a pretty good sign of what the rest of that game was going to be like. And then we stopped swinging for one, and then we struggled with serve receive and had a hard time getting the ball up to our setter, which really limits our offense and what we can run. So that was definitely a key in the game.
And momentum is always a big key to the victory, and Chapman seemed like once they got that second set under their belt, their momentum was a little bit higher than yours on the night.
Yeah, and about the time here in the end of the season that I thought we had made some really nice strides with mental toughness and could work through that, which we did on Saturday. Then here, we fell tonight to this Chapman team, which I'd love to redo it, because I don't think the second time around would go quite this way, but.
Yeah, you had a big victory, you told us this morning, a quarterback over number 1 team, Royal Valley, so that had to be a real peak, and then you come down with maybe a little bit of letdown, but now you got a game off, you get a Nickerson team who you lost to already. Maybe this will be the inspiration that you'll knock them off at home.
Yeah, I hope so. Right now, as we finish league play, Nickerson, Lions, and us all tied for second place in our league. So we beat Lions earlier at home here in the season, and we played Nickerson earlier and lost to them. So those are 3 equally matched teams, and I'm hoping that we'll get some students here tonight after their practices, cross-country tennis, or I guess not tennis, but football, and get some student bodies in the crowd and maybe generate some energy for us to take down Nickerson, because they're a well-coached team and they've got a good program, so it'll be a good battle.
It will be a good battle, and then you got to go right away and Saturday go to Sub-State at Council Grove, which you said is probably a good landing place for your Sub-State.
Absolutely. So as I said this morning, there are 2 sub-states that I wanted to be in, and we're in one of those at Council Grove. So depending on how games go tonight, either Silver Lake will be number 1 seed, or us. I know they're playing Riley County. If one could guess, one would say that Silver Lake would take both of those sets with Riley County tonight, but you never know. No. So we'll see how we fare here with Nickerson, and I'd love to have the number 1 seed. 2 will be okay too, but I want the top seed for sure.
Well, best of luck in the second game tonight, and best of luck at the regional next Saturday, and season's kind of winding down in a hurry.
It sure is, it is, and what's awesome for us, and several of our opponents realize that we don't have any seniors. So what we put together this year is coming back next year, which is really exciting. So with some maturity and improving skills, I think next season is going to be a really strong season as well.
Charlene Ramsey of the Smoky Valley Vikings, thank you.
Thank you.
That was Charlene Ramsey. Her thoughts on their play tonight, their play over the weekend, and again, that was an exciting weekend for them to beat the #1 team in 3A and come away with a second-place finish over there at Abilene.
Yeah, it really was, and that's always a very tough tournament to play in. And they had a really successful weekend, but now, you got to turn your attention, and volleyball's such a quick sport. A lot of times you got that Saturday, you got a Tuesday, you got a Thursday, and you're rolling. And so, like you pointed out, Sub-State is right around the corner, and you don't want to overlook a game like tonight's as a way to, or matches tonight as a way to get prepared for that Saturday. So they've really got to dig deep here in the second match and come out ready to play here against Nickerson.
Well, she's got a lot of things to motivate them with she said they were a little quiet, a little lethargic maybe, so I'm sure she did some things to kind of motivate her team a little bit, and didn't hurt anything that Nickerson lost to Chapman, so they're kind of hurting too, so it should be a really exciting match here we're getting ready for.
Yeah, you always hope you don't wake a sleeping giant when they have a tough match like that before yours, but I actually believe it's going to really lend itself to two teams that feel like they shouldn't have lost their first matches tonight, going toe-to-toe here tonight for the late one.
Yeah, no kidding about that. So we're ready to start the game one. We didn't get starters. Have you got some starters there?
I do have starters here. I've got, for the Vikings, we've got our first server again is going to be McKinley Johnson, then Aubrey Boldra, Abby Rose, Noelle Peters, I almost said Brett Heitschmidt, Addie Heitschmidt, and Bree Franklin. For Nickerson, they're going to start with Ava Jones, a freshman, the McLean girl, Josie McLean, number 3, Sarah Kelly, number 11, Trinity Isley, number 15, Morgan Stout. Very impressed with how she hit the ball earlier. And then number 1, also a senior, Alyssa Land. And then they'll bring off the bench their libero, number 23. She's actually number 2 in the roster here. That's Asha Kelly. And the Vikings will counter with Avery Vanderweg at their libero position as well.
So, and did you mention I was doing a little stuff? The number 15 is going to be a walk-on at Wichita State.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
Coach Ramsey said that to me. She said she's going to be a walk-on there. So it'll be easy for the Vikings to rally against her because she's supposed to be that good, and she's probably been a 4-year starter for them.
Yeah, very talented players I witnessed in that middle match here. She seemed to really get the job done and play extremely hard. When she gets on top of the ball, she can pound it.
One more technical thing here, and then I'll be ready to go.
So Vikings will be serving first. McKinley Johnson back to serve to get this thing started for the Vikings.
And we are ready. McKinley's serve taken by Stout, set up by Deer slam, but Vikings dig it out well. And Belle Peters sends it back over the net. McLean to the tall freshman, and Vikings still dig that one out, but it goes out of bounds. First point belongs to Nickerson. A nice long rally again.
Yeah, it was, and again, nicely played. And yeah, they went to their solid freshman here, Jones, and she's able to come across on that curl back set and hit the ball back across the line. And the Vikings got a hand on it, but couldn't keep it up.
Second serve in, dug out by Heitschmidt. McKinley Johnson to Franklin. Good spike, but dug out nicely by Nickerson. It was a deep spike blocked by Rose. McLean, and dug out by the Vikings. Over to Boldra, dug out by Nickerson. Set not particularly good, but they got it down. McKinley Johnson keeps it alive, and Heitschmidt can't get it over. Good effort by the Vikings on kind of a wild play there, but point goes to Nickerson.
It was a wild play, able to get a hand on the ball. There was Bree Franklin keep that one alive, and then McKinley Johnson also kept it alive. We just weren't able to quite get it back over the net.
2-0 Nickerson lead here. Ball goes over the net to Nickerson. McLean sets it up, and one of the players, number 3, Kelly, slipped when she was getting ready to go up, and the ball went in no man's land. That's one of those bad breaks that doesn't happen very often.
That was one of those sniper moments. She was headed toward the net, and all of a sudden she went down hard. So good to see she's okay and back ready to go.
Popped back up laughing about it. Their first Viking serve, and soft set, back hit. McKinley gets it over to Haxton. She hits it over. And Nickerson ready to set. McLean with a nice set, deep, but the Vikings react to it nicely and get it back over the net. Deep ball to McLean. blocked by the Vikings. Good effort by Nickerson to keep the ball alive, keep the rally going. Abby Rose gets it over to McKinley. She gets it over the net. Here comes a little soft spike, but it's out of bounds. And the Vikings tied the game up at 2-2. Nice long rally again.
Nice long rally. And again, I think the Vikings are driven here a little bit in this second match. They're moving much better than they were in the first match. Just got to get points out of it now.
So 2-2 game right now. McLean set. Deep spike by the senior Stout. Gets it over to Heitzman. Hits the backboard. Home run out of the park.
Yeah, nice dig back there by Carrington Haxton to keep that one alive. And Addie just didn't get the rollover with the hand that time, and the ball took off way too deep.
So 3-2 Nickerson. They're serving. Good quick serve. The Vikings handle it well, but it goes out of bounds on the set by Peters, and it's a 4-2 Nickerson lead. Serving is McLean. John McLean, former basketball player at Bethany. He's the athletic director at Nickerson. His daughter, a freshman, serving, but serves it into the net. And that'll be ball out or side out to the Vikings. Rose, short serve, dug out nicely. Comes the big spike. The Vikings save it. Peters, and over to Heitzman. Nicely done to keep that ball in play. McLean, another spike. That one gets high and in the right spot for the big senior, and she hounds it down.
Yeah, Stout went up and put that ball down, and she, a lot like Abby Rose, when she can get up to the peak of her jump and get the timing just right, there's not very many people that can pick those up.
No, it comes at such an angle, you can't really block that ball at all. 5-3, dig by Abby Rose. Nice set, but long on the spike by Peters. And it's a 6-3 Nickerson lead here. Early first set. Again, both teams have lost to Chapman in 3 sets, so they're trying to get a victory here in game match 3. McLean gets it off, a little back, bad set there. That one was behind the would-be spiker, and it goes out of bounds. 6-4 now, Vikings trail.
Yeah, I still don't feel like either team is really bringing their A game yet. I feel like there's just something not quite clicking for both squads right now. But with teams like this that compete the way they do in league all the time, you got to expect it's going to heat up here as time goes on.
And Coach Ramsey said there's a big spike, but it goes out of bounds. Coach Ramsey said who won the league? Heston won the league?
Yes.
And then Nickerson, Lions, and Smoky Valley tied for second.
Yep.
With 1 loss each in league. So very competitive league. Again, our league's been really tough year after year. Ramsey served, dug out nicely. McLean with the set. And in on the spike, 7-5, Nickerson with the lead.
Yeah, spike was in. Also, the Vikings were in the net there as well, so it wouldn't have mattered. But, again, trying to go up and get that block, trying to compete, get the double set up over there, and unfortunately just a little too close. So that will put Nickerson back up by 2.
Now the front line of Nickerson gets bigger. Is Stout at 6'2", and joined by a freshman Jones, also at 6'2". So they got a lot of height on their front line right now in this rotation. That ball back, but the Vikings can't block it back into the backcourt, but they get it down, and it's another point for Nickerson. They lead now 8-5.
Yeah, that one just snuck right between the double block. The Vikings weren't able to get on the floor and pick that one up.
Service coming, dug out by Haxton. Over to Heitzman. She dumps it behind, but picked up by McLean. Comes over to Jones. Her shot deep, and Vikings pick up the side out.
Yeah, you mentioned 2 6'2" people up there in Stout and Jones. Nickerson, interesting squad, open with 4 seniors on their starting lineup and 2 freshmen, and the freshmen are pretty talented.
The Vikings aren't too bad on their height, with Abby Rose at 6 foot, followed by Bree Franklin at 5'10", so they give up a little bit less, and Maddie Toll also a sophomore at 5'10", so they've got some size too. And the rotation goes bad as Bulgra's dig goes off to the side, and it's 10-6 in favor of Nickerson. They have a 4-point lead. Stout serve, dig out nicely by Rose. Ramsey with the set to Franklin. Franklin hit and goes awry, and the Vikings get the point. Good effort by Jones, the freshman, to try to keep it in alive, but Vikings get the point, making it 10-7. Franklin now to serve for Smoky Valley. And very good service ace there. Got it right between a couple of players, and neither one could make their foot work, and goes in for a Viking point. 10-8,
Yeah, nice ace there by Bree as she put it right between the two back row players. Neither one could quite get a beat on it, and the Vikings pick up a nice point there.
And they're right to dugout nicely. McLean with the set. Blocked nicely by the Vikings. They keep it alive, but then they let it go. They got the block and then got the bump up, but it went right in between the no man's land. And I want to ask you a question about Franklin's serve. How far away from the edge can you be? Anywhere?
Yeah, you can be anywhere on the court and come back into it as long as you make contact inside the court. And another great serve using the net to her advantage and dropping it right in for an ace.
So she's way out 10 or 12 feet beyond the court, but as long as when she hits the ball, she's in line with the court, it's okay.
Yep.
I didn't know you could do that. That's an interesting strategy. And there's another serve. So all of a sudden, Bree Franklin has gotten hot from the service line, and Nickerson calls a quick timeout. So Nickerson showing a 4-point lead, but the Vikings coming right back. Now the emotion kind of momentum shifted to the Viking sideline.
Yeah, and we saw that a little bit in the second match today with Nickerson. It seemed like they were off to a roll and really had things going after set one. And then all of a sudden in set two, just kind of lost, almost like they lost interest just for a little bit. And then they got their momentum going again and just kind of back and forth. We saw that from Smoky in the first match as well. Just some chances there after we won the first set, and we just didn't put it away in the second. When you give teams a chance in the third one, anything could happen.
Lose, yeah.
Anything could happen in that third one. You get behind a little bit and you have to battle back, and sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way. Smoky didn't have a great opportunity there when Chapman picked up timeouts in their first match. I think they scored on almost every one coming out of the timeout, so we'll see if they can get a play or a point here before Nickerson does and see if they can keep Nickerson down.
This is our first Smoky Valley radio broadcast. We've been on the internet for match one at 5 o'clock. And now coming up also football on Friday night against Rock Creek, so we'll have that for you on live.smokyvalley.org. There's another service that hits the net, and another one goes to the Vikings' advantage. So they started this one down 10-7, I believe, and it's a 5-0 run.
Yeah, Bree Franklin is just dominating right now with her serve and putting it right where she needs to put it, including right off the net.
On
about
the
two
white,
of them.
white,
yeah, the white
stripe.
tape.
Oh, Franklin, another serve. That one goes deep and dug out nicely. McLean with the set. Too stout, and it's right on the very edge, and it's called out of bounds. It was very close. Looked either way. Those are hard to tell. You couldn't tell it without, she's got the line judge has got the very good line, so it's hard to tell it where it was. But the Vikings on a roll here. Franklin, that one hits the net and goes down, so it doesn't count. But that was we'll call it a 6-0 run by the Vikings to take a 13-11 lead now after the rally scoring.
Yeah, I think we'll take that one for all the ones she got.
Absolutely. Service deep. Heitzman has to go back and get it now. Ramsey gets it over. Now another set by Nickerson. Good play. They just got that one set up just exactly like they wanted. And they pull it back to a 13-12 Viking lead.
Yeah, nice kill that time for Sarah Kelly, the senior, off of a nice set again by McLean.
Dug out by the Vikings. Ramsey with the set. Boulder with the spike, and it's good. Whoa, she hit a spot about a foot in the back line, and that was a very nice point for the Vikings. Lead 14-12.
Yeah, nice set there by Elise Ramsey, and then she sets up Boulder for a nice kill back across the floor, and like you said, just in the deepest corner there.
So 14-12, Vikings with a 2-point advantage. McKinley Johnson now to serve. Her serve dug out. McLean with the spike over to the freshman Jones, and she gets it in off of the Viking blocker and down out of bounds, and a point for Nickerson. I expect this match to be tight all the way.
I really do. I think it's going to go back and forth, and it's whoever's got a little bit more momentum going into that last few points is going to probably pull it out.
So 1-point Viking lead. Nickerson serving, dug out by Franklin, up to McKinley, and Rose with a nice smash, nice kill, and comes down inside the net on the Nickerson side. 2-point Viking lead. Heitschmidt and Haxton back in. Joining Rose and Peters and Franklin. McLean with the set. And that one comes in on the Viking side. Good blockers, Heitschmidt and Rose there, but it came down inside the net on the Viking side. That's exciting volleyball when they hit it that way.
Yeah, it really is. And you just like to see good teams going toe-to-toe with one another. It's just so much fun to watch.
That could be deep, but Vikings play it to McKinley, to Heitschmidt. Oh, and the Vikings get a break but can't keep it inbounds. Wow, the dig went back over the net, and McKinley Johnson just laid out to try to get it in play, and she got it up from going and hitting the ground, but the second hit went out of bounds. So tie ball game now. Deep set goes, and there's Heitschmidt with a great play on the net. Got the ball over, and coach from Nickerson wanting to know if the ball was over or not. The line, that's the net person's judge. I don't know who decides which call it is on the referee on the ground or the referee up in the stand.
Yeah, usually the one up in the stand is going to make that call right around that net area.
The Vikings serve with a 1-point lead. Ball deep, picked up by Johnson, up by Peters, and then to Heitschmidt, and she gets it knocked over but knocked back in by Nickerson, and point Nickerson to tie the game back up at 16-16. A tense, close match here. Serve dug out by Rose, tipped down by, and then double hit by McKinley Johnson. So Nickerson back on top now. And Coach Ramsey wants a timeout to rally her troops a little bit. Get to see that swagger, get to see that momentum jump to the other side. A good timeout by Ramsey.
Yeah, excellent timeout. And again, it was just kind of things were getting a little bit stagnant there, and I think you've just got to kind of drive. And even within your huddle, you want to talk about the fact that as soon as this serve comes over, where do we want this first hit to go? Do we want to go back set? Do we want to do a curl set? Do we want to bring the ball over to our strong side over here and hit away? Or do you even want to go the back row with something? But something that's going to get you a big play and kind of really swing that momentum coming out of the timeout. But like we talked about in the first match tonight, it's got to start with a good pass and a good set to be able to get that whole system to function well.
Vikings again on Saturday on their way to Council Grove to compete in that 8-team regional, one team going on to state. So they're hoping that they can kind of regroup a little bit on the weekend and get a good seed, maybe 1 or 2 seed, and see how they do there. Here comes Franklin with a big block. Nickerson keeps it alive. Dug out nicely by Haxton. Back to McKinley Johnson, to Rose. Puts it up. Nice shot by Heitschmidt at the net. The set from Nickerson went right to the Viking side, and Heitschmidt just put it right down.
Yeah, beautiful up back there by Carrington Haxton to get things started on their first hit. And then a little ball reversal action there, and an excellent job by Addie Heitschmidt at the net, playing the net, being active, seeing that ball reach the tape and getting up and putting it down.
The Vikings tie the game up now at 17-all. Ramsey in to serve for Smoky Valley. McLean set. Whoa, what a big block. 4, 5, 6 hits. The ball was pinballing around.
Yeah,
wow.
very, very alert play right in there in the middle. Bree Franklin all over that one and swallows it up and takes one for the Vikings there. Big point.
Yeah, on their big senior spiker there, so they did a nice job of that. Here's Ramsey again setting it up. That time got it higher and in the perfect position. The Vikings couldn't get lined up for the block, and that ties the score up at 18-18.
I tell you, that's stout in there.
Exciting.
She makes big plays,
Yeah,
doesn't she?
man.
When she gets up and the timing is just right, she just goes off on the ball.
Well, when it goes down, I don't know how many feet that first white line is.
10 foot.
10 foot. It comes down inside there. You don't have much chance to dig that one out at all. Here's Franklin tipping it over, and good. Boy, she just nailed it right on the line. So Franklin giving the Vikings a 1-point lead at 19-18. That was a beautiful little tip. Counts as a kill, but just a tip. Heitschmidt served, dug out nicely. The freshman gets the ball, and the Vikings keep it going. Good job by Franklin again. Nickerson kept the ball alive, but they all got up in the front part of the court, and Franklin noticed that and pushed it to the back edge, and good point for the Vikings, 20-18.
Very alert play on her behalf.
Set coming down, there's a ball, and the Vikings can't get to it. Boldra had it partially blocked, and then she turned around, and nobody was there to help. Again, Nickerson getting within 1 point at 20-19, still first set. Vikings dig it out. Heitschmidt gets it up, and Boulder's going to have to knock it over. Set by Franklin, by McLean. Vikings handle it well, gets it over to Toll. They get a set. Here comes a dig or a smash. Heitschmidt with a good effort, and oh shoot. Between Boulder and Ramsey, one of them was going to take it, then the other one was going to take it, and it falls in their court for a point for Nickerson. We're tied at 20-20. Good dig by the Vikings. Ramsey set to Boulder. It's going to be deep for a 1-point Nickerson lead at 21-20.
Yeah, communication in tight matches is so important, and sometimes you just have that little letdown, but you got to make sure you dig back up out of that.
Rose with the dig up to Ramsey. Ramsey to Franklin going deep. Nickerson gets it off on the side. Goes over to Boulder, to Ramsey, to Franklin. Nice dig by Nickerson. Tipped by Nickerson. Set by McLean and doesn't get over the net. Jones swings a little bit but just didn't get, maybe too off on the set. And the Vikings tie it up at 21-all.
Yeah, with that back turn set like that, you really got to put the ball up and high for them to go get it.
Good service by Franklin again. They do save it and get it over. Here comes a nice set by Ramsey to Rose. Beautiful play. Beautiful set.
This is the point in the time of the match where you've got to have those big kills and you got to be able to bring the point, and that's exactly what the Vikings did there.
Yeah, when you get that good first dig and you get it set to your front setter, that makes a very huge difference. So 22-21. Ooh, and it's just out. Nickerson was going to play it, and it just went out of bounds to tie the game up at 22-22. This is going to be a tight finish. Service coming. Dropped inside. Dug by Heitschmidt. To Rose. She's going to go deep. Ramsey off of the Heitschmidt. Gets it over to Boulder. He gets it to Abby Rose. Gets it back in the front court. And dug out, but not missed that time. Heitschmidt couldn't get the dig. And it's 23-22 Nickerson. And timeout Smoky Valley. Only got 2 points to go. A real strategic timeout now by Coach Ramsey.
Yeah, if you can hold on to some of those timeouts, or at least one of those timeouts until late in the match, you really want to spread them out, but you'd love to have that one when you're about 22, 23, just to be able to break things up, make a little bit of a change. You know, you can always throw a quick sub in there if you have to, but sometimes if you've already got your momentum or your flow, you really don't want to adjust that flow a whole lot, but you try to do anything you can down the stretch to try to just make an adjustment, get the other team off just a smidge from being able to serve, and try to get the ball back in your possession.
If you're listening on the radio, you can turn it on to your computer and go to live.smokyvalley.org. Mike Rose and his staff doing a great job of streaming this and our audio going over the stream. I know a lot of times during football we get a lot of listeners and watchers on the stream. So,
and this is kind of new. I think we've got about 35 up there right now, but you know, anytime you can get a uncle, aunt, grandma, grandpa, any type of relative to watch, it's really good to have them on board.
Service by Nickerson, dug out by Heitschmidt, to Ramsey, to Toll. They can't get it over the net. 24-22, so the Vikings don't come out of that timeout with a point. And now game serve here for Nickerson in set one. Toll gets the dig over to Ramsey, back to Rose, and the Vikings stave off one game's point. 24-23.
This is where you really need to have a big play, because if you just lay one out there and allow them to be in system, get the pass where they want it, I have a feeling they're going to go to their big hitter and try to finish this one out.
McKinley Johnson with the serve, set by McLean, blocked by the Vikings, and that's the game. Blocked by Bell Peters, but it goes out of bounds, and the Vikings drop set one, or game one of set three, by the score of 25-23. We'll stay right here on the live stream as the Vikings and Nickerson Panthers will switch sides. Maybe this is a good thing that the Vikings lost the first set, because both the Vikings in their first set and Nickerson in their first set won the first set, and then they came back and lost the next two, so maybe you didn't want to win the first match.
Now that's what you say in the huddle right now. You say, hey, every team that's lost the first match today has come back to win, or first set has come back to win the match today. So that's what you want to look for. In that first set, Abby Rose led the Vikings with 3 kills. Bree Franklin had 2. Boldra and Heitschmidt each had 1. Elise Ramsey led with 4 assists. 7 for 9 serving for Bree Franklin, including 4 aces. For Nickerson, Kelly led the way with 4 kills, followed by Jones and Stout. Each had 3. McLean with 9 assists. Again, those are unofficial numbers. That's the best I can do coming up with things here. But it was one of those weird matches weird sets because there weren't a ton of kills. It was a lot of scrappy play where people were just able to come up with plays. You know, you saw a few of those where communication was lacking on both teams and a ball drops that probably shouldn't have dropped. So, again, in a tight set like that, it's so important to make those big plays when you have to have them.
Yeah, no question about that. But the Vikings now need to come out and see if they can get a lead here and hold on to their lead in game 2. Also want to set a shout out and good luck to the Smoky Valley cross country team. Aren't they going to regional this weekend too, or is that a week away?
Yeah, cross country should be regional, I believe, is this weekend. It's usually the same weekend as volleyball regional, those are usually together. So, and they're out at Norton.
I can't remember.
Yeah, they're out at Norton. So a long trip for them, having to go out west. There's some pretty good squads there in that one as well. So they're going to have to bring their A game for that one.
Nickerson to start serving here in set 2. Rose blocked, picked up by Boldra. Off to Abby Rose. She'll try to lay it down, but picked up by Nickerson. And the Vikings can't hang on to it. The kill by Kelly. I think that was Kelly, wasn't it?
That was Kelly. She's been very impressive today. One of the seniors for them, and she's really stepping up. You know, we talked about the 6'2" girls, but she brings it just as well.
Vikings try to keep it alive. 4-5 pinball in around. So an early 2-0 deficit for the Vikings here, just like they did in game 1. Nickerson got off to a little bit of a lead, but the Vikings came back and took the lead. But that ball Franklin has to keep it alive and does to Ramsey. Across the net. Jones, the big freshman, finally gets that timing down. That's the first successful one of those they've had. And it's a 3-0 lead by Nickerson.
Yeah, all set up by the fact the Vikings had to send that ball over because of the deep serve, and they had to send over an easy one, and that let Nickerson really have a good play on the ball.
Ramsey set to Toll. Played well by Nickerson. Off it goes.
There's a free one for Smoky if they take advantage of it.
Boulder gets it blocked, keeps it alive. Nickerson keeps it alive. And they get a hit, but the Vikings come up with it. Get a nice set to Boulder, but she can't get it over the net. And the Vikings down 4-0 here to start set 2.
2 opportunities where Nickerson sent the ball over to us on ultimately a free ball. We never did quite get our positioning set to take advantage of that.
Short serve comes down, and it's a 5-0 lead. So Coach Ramsey, you can see her frustration. Nobody playing aggressive here for the Vikings early.
And that was a beautiful serve. Drops it right inside that 10-foot line. That's kind of that no man's land.
This one comes deeper and goes off of Boulder. Franklin can't keep it alive, and it goes off the wall. And Coach Ramsey wants a quick timeout, a quick burst here by Nickerson. 6-0. And that's not the end of the world in a 25-point game, but boy, you just don't want to get behind too much. Good timeout.
You just don't want to start in a hole. I tell you, number 1 for them, Land, she's 11 for 11 serving tonight with 1 ace, and she's gotten them going early in this one and really making some nice plays. But you're right, even though it is a long set, you definitely don't want to get behind 6-0 out of the gate, but going to call that timeout, settle the girls down, and just like anything we ever talk about athletically, your goal right now is to get 1 point and just kind of get some momentum built up little by little. If you get 1 this time and 2 the next time, and just continue to fight.
Got to continue to fight. And speaking of continuing to fight, it was encouraging to hear Coach Lambert this morning at Quarterback Club talk about the football team having an unsuccessful season with just 1 win, but he said, boy, the attitude and the determination by the football team is certainly good, and there's several of those guys here in attendance tonight. Lund serve goes down, hit by, and there she's just laying it in just in the wrong spot for the Vikings, the right spot for her.
Mixing things up really well. She's gone deep on a few serves, and then she drops that one in there short, and she really moves the ball around well.
The Vikings get a successful dig that time, but boy, they set it up nicely for Nickerson, and they come through with another point. So Nickerson really on their A game right now here at the start. 8-0 run to start this second match.
Yeah, dominant opening as Kelly gets yet another kill. That's her 6th kill on the night so far.
There the Vikings get a good dig, but don't get a good set, and it goes out of bounds. So the Vikings down 9-0 to start this second set. And it's got to be Coach Ramsey's got to be pulling her hair out. And she drops another one, but this one doesn't get off the net, so over the net. So finally, after a 9-point run, that's really sets your team up for a nice game.
Yeah, nice to have that cushion to open up with. I think we all would love that. But now, like I said, it's a great opportunity for the Vikings to show what kind of heart they've got and how much they want to dig this game back out little by little.
McKinley Johnson to serve, gets a nice hard serve. Set up nicely, though, and Kelly again just got set up beautifully right in the middle and just threads the needle to get it right between Viking defenders.
Nickerson just looks just a little bit quicker right now, quicker off the floor. Their passing has really been efficient here in this second set. And anytime you have that efficiency in passing, you give your setter a chance to move the ball around and hit the open hitter. And that time it was Kelly again.
Launches serve, handled well by Vanuatu. Here's Rose, and that one just comes up right near us in the crowd. Abby Rose was going to make sure she got that one down.
Yeah, nice hit. And like I said, Abby's been our leading hitter this year and leading kill player this year, and got to get her more involved. She's only had 4 of those so far in this match.
Set. There's Kelly again. Boy, she just answers right back. They're getting her set just right. It's kind of a long set from the setter, almost half the court over, and they're finding a lot of gaps. 11-2, Nickerson with a big lead here. There's Rose again. She can't get that one over the net, and it's 12-2. So everything going right Nickerson's way here in this match so far. Vikings lost the first set 25-23 and trail 12-2 in game 2. Franklin dig. McKinley Johnson tips it over. Back to the Viking side. Heitschmidt gets it over and saved by Nickerson. Dug by Nickerson under the net. Everybody was really, Kelly, she's up above the net and she's under the net.
Yeah, Kelly making a great hustle play there. Unfortunately, like I said, she crossed over the white line on the bottom of the net, and that goes point Smoky Valley.
12-3, and there's a nice service ace by Abby Rose to make it 12-4. So maybe the Vikings can start a rally here. Boy, they really need one. Rose drops it in short, dug out nicely. And there's the big senior 6'2" player with a big kill, stopping the Viking rally, making the score 13-4.
Yeah, that's another nice dig, nice setup by McLean, sending it outside to Stout, and she knocks it down on a nice cross shot.
Kelly serving now. Rose digs it out. McKinley Johnson set. Franklin blocked, but saved by the Vikings. Now knocked over by the Vikings. And saved by the Vikings. Dug nicely. And Bell Peters can't get the ball across the net. And it's 14-4. They're just keeping that 10-point cushion here.
Yeah, just kind of going back from 8 to 10 and 11 right in that area. And that's exactly why you like getting a nice lead.
Kelly's service dug out by Heitschmidt. Back to Heitschmidt on the kill, and it goes deep, but it was hit. Vikings get the point. Got a tip. Vikings get to keep that point even though the kill went long. Ramsey coming back into serve. Maybe she can be the hot server in this game to get this match back.
Yeah, that first set it was Bree Franklin who really got things going for the Vikings. So again, it can really swing quickly if you can get some serves in.
And that one's in, stopped by Nickerson. And there's the big 1-2 punch there. Stout to McLean, back to Stout, right coming down Broadway, right down the middle of the court. And made it work. 15-5, Nickerson. Nickerson to serve, number 11 serving for them, and this time it's Isley. Her serve short, dug out by Toll. Franklin with the set. Little bit of dip there, a little tip. And Franklin finds the gap again.
Yeah, beautiful job there. It was a little bit of a short set, and Bree adjusted beautifully to it. Pulled all the blockers in and hit the ball just across the line.
Long serve out of bounds by Heitschmidt. So her service didn't last long. 16-6. And that rally scoring, you just get a point when you make a mistake. Stout, their senior, with the serve to Boulder. She gets it back into the net, and they can't dig it right, and it's another point for Nickerson, 17-6.
Yeah, the thing with this rally scoring is you've got to make sure you get some points in a row, and the Vikings just have not been able to do that.
Ramsey set to Boulder. She just doesn't slam it, just tips it in. Here comes a tip by Nickerson. Vikings dig it. Toll comes back across. Nicely done by Maddie Toll.
Yeah, nice little back. We kind of call that a little back dump there when I coached, and she did. She just kind of dumped that ball back here on this back line, got a nice kill out of it. Great job by Maddie Toll.
Maddie Toll, just a sophomore, right? She kind of burst on the scene. Here comes Franklin's serve. Good hard serve. Vikings with it back over. Oh my goodness. They're letting Ramsey get the dig or the set, and that ball went out on the dig, and she couldn't get to it. The Vikings trail 18-7. Just can't quite get in this match. And this is game 2. First one, there's Rose with a nice slam. Stout tried to dig it, but she could have dug it right into the net, and Vikings get the point. Like you said, between 11 and 8, it just kind of bounces back and forth. But see if McKinley Johnson can get it going now for the Vikings.
Great extension, great kill by Abby Rose. And again, I think they really want to keep the momentum built up and get going. It's a little bit of a slow game. We've got to keep this moving.
Stout digs, not a good dig, but McLean gets to it. And beautiful block by Rose or Boldra. Another block. Very good.
Nice.
Both. Was that Boulder?
That was Belle Peters on that one. Belle
on
Peters all over that block, and she's very active on this right side of the net, able to go up, get that first one, and then knock down the second one for a point for Smoky Valley.
Excellent job by those two. McKinley Johnson, good serve. There's the freshman Jones that gets the ball over the net, and the Vikings give up another point, 19-9.
That was a great play just in length. You know, she had to get a lot of stretch. She's got nice long arms, had to get a good stretch on that set, and was able to just turn it back into the playing surface and give it a chance to score. And sure enough, right down in front of the Viking blockers, and a point again, a 10-point lead again for Nickerson.
Nickerson served, dug out nicely by Heitschmidt, over to McKinley Johnson, to Rose. Beautiful set, beautiful play. Got to have a lot more of those, though. That's maybe a one to build on.
Yeah, good to see that, though. You like to see them go into their strength, and Abby's been a really strong strength for them in the front row here. But again, like you said, got to have more than one at a time. Got to be 2, 3, 4 points at any one time.
Axon serve comes in. Vikings, just when you think they don't get a good set, she dumps it over Kelly and just gets it into no man's land to get that point back. 20-10. Vikings in real danger here. Here's Vanderweg serve. Get off to Rose. Can't get it over the net. It's 21-10. Vikings in dire straits now. Nickerson just 4 points away from winning this match.
Need to get about a 5-to-1 ratio here the rest of the way.
That one just served. Beautiful serve again. And there's another kill by the senior. Vikings just really disappointing night here. We're just not getting that many breaks and not getting our offense put together right. Good serve long. Maybe that'll start. Something's got to start to rally. 22-11. We got to have a big, big rally.
Need about 6 or 7 points to every point we give up, so we definitely got to have it going.
Short serve and successful. The dig wasn't good. And Abby Rose put that one right in a good spot. 12 for the Vikings, but 22 for Nickerson. That one goes deep and over the head, and good point. So there's a little mini rally started. Maybe we can build on it.
Beautiful example. The moment the ball's in Abby Rose's hands, she wants to serve. She's waiting for the whistle, and she really attacked before even Nickerson was ready that time and mixes the ball up beautifully.
Drops it short. There's Kelly with a little dink. Vikings play it well. Gets it over to Peters, and Peters with another nice kill. The Vikings have a rally going now. 3 points in a row, 22-14, as close as they've been for a while.
Yeah, that play set up, first of all, by Haxton getting a nice dig.
Out. Oh, Abby hit the net and looked like it was going to crawl over, but it just spun lengthwise on the net and went out of bounds.
It's one of those on a night you're having a good night, it bounces in.
Yeah.
A night it's a struggle, it rolls out.
Dig by Rose, ball loose. Now it's tipped deep by Nickerson. Stout puts it over play. McKinley Johnson to Franklin. Kills it, but Panthers dig it out. Now they get a soft over. Now the Vikings should have a good set on this one. Here comes Heitschmidt, and it's out of bounds, out deep. The Vikings in desperation now. 1 point away, 24-14 is Nickerson. Here comes the serve, and it's short. Taken up, and that is game. Vikings drop it 25-14, so it didn't do good to make this a comeback win, and the Vikings give up just a 2-0 game to Nickerson, who beat him earlier in the year, but I'm sure it's frustrating for the Viking coaching staff.
Yeah, when you get that momentum, like we said, coming in after that big tournament over the weekend, you'd love to see us build off that. Like we said, knocked off the number 1 team in 3A and had a chance to attack the number 8 team in 4A today, and it just wasn't meant to be as they really responded. We said waking a sleeping giant. Chapman was able to sneak one out on Nickerson in that first match, and Nickerson was not having any of it here in this second one. So it's one of those things where we really got to look to build up here on this next match throughout the week as we get ready for our next matches at Sub-State, and really going to have to start picking things up from there.
Yeah, close match didn't go the Vikings' way in match 1, and then the games got away from him in game 2, and the Vikings drop a 3-set exciting match early to Chapman. They won the first game 25-16, and then lost 22-25 and 26-24. And then Nickerson played Chapman, and Chapman took Nickerson in 3, 25-20, 25-19, and Nickerson won the first match 25-18. And then Nickerson came back and won 25-23 in game 1, and then took it to the Vikings 25-14. That 9-0 start was really the difference in the match.
Yeah, you just hate to see that. And as a coach, having done this, it's really, you got to get your girls really going after that. And it's so difficult when they keep looking at that scoreboard and seeing that. Some decent individual performances. First of all, for Nickerson, 9 kills for Kelly tonight. She was phenomenal. Stout had 6. Jones had 5. Those were the only 3 I really had with kills tonight for Nickerson. 19 assists for McLean. And then for the Vikings, I had 6 kills for Abby Rose, 3 for Bree Franklin, 2 for Heitschmidt and Peters, 1 each for Boulder and Toll, 7 assists for Ramsey, 4 for Johnson. I did have the 4 aces for Bree Franklin early in that first set, and then 3 aces for Abby Rose here in the second set to kind of get the Vikings back going again, but just not quite enough to be able to get a really strong Nickerson team in this second match.
Yeah, they showed why they're a good team, and they again ended up with a tie for the Vikings in second place in league. So they are 4A, I think, so they're in the 4A sub-state somewhere. I didn't look up where they're going to be playing, but they're going to be a threat in their sub-state, no question about that. So we actually, and once the regular season's over, you start cheering for all your league teams because it makes your league look stronger if all the teams do good in sub-state. So I'm sure they're on and ready to move on in their sub-state, and they're probably happy that they could at least salvage one match tonight.
Yeah, you really do want to make sure that, if you're Nickerson, that you're building toward the end of the season as well. And like you said, it's always nice, even though those are people you go toe-to-toe with during the school year and during league play, then it's time to put that away and hope that people do, the league represents well, and you hopefully get as many teams into state as you possibly can. It looks like, according to what I'm looking at here, in their sub-states for Nickerson, it looks like they're officially the 5 seed. They're in sub-state number 4. Oddly enough, the 4 seed is Chapman, so just above them, even though ranking-wise, Nickerson's a little higher ranked. So Chapman's going to play Winfield, and Nickerson's going to have Wellington. And then there's a chance that Nickerson and Chapman meet up again in that championship round to decide who goes to the state tournament. And then we mentioned earlier that the Vikings in theirs, it looks like they're definitely going to be locked into that 2 seed. And I think according to Coach Ramsey earlier this morning, that means we would face Minneapolis, I think, in the first round on Saturday. So it's that time of the year. It's hard to believe we're already here. We've been covering football games all season, and now it's what an opportunity Mr. Rose gave us tonight, and 95.5 gave us tonight to cover this match. And unfortunately, like you said, Coach Ramsey might not ask us back again to do it. But if nothing else, you want to learn from tonight and build on that and get ready to go this weekend. And we always talk in basketball season, you only have to beat each team once that day. So they just have to step up, rise to the challenge, and be able to take care of a few teams that they haven't seen a lot from this year. So it should be an exciting weekend, and like you mentioned, cross country too. And of course, we got football Friday night.
Yeah, football Friday night and cross country and volleyball on Saturday. So best of luck to all the Viking teams. And Mike, we appreciate all your work. Doug, we appreciate your work. Jared, working back at the station, we appreciate what you did for us tonight. And we will talk to you on Friday night. Take care, everyone. Good night.